Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek LeMaster.
This is Scream Bloody Movies, a podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and guys, we find ourselves in a predicament where we raise some demons and we open up the gate. But before we get into that craziness, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
I'm chilling like a villain.
I am not. I'm sweating like a fetting. I don't know what the saying would be.
Sweating like a
It's hot.
pig.
It's hot, like a whore in church. But it is hot up in this room, I can tell you.
I bet.
But that's not going to deter us from talking about tonight's movie, guys. That's for sure. Because I got a lot to talk about with this one. This is one I remember from being a child for sure, and I'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But first,
I remember.
you guys, you want to dig into a little bit of HN horror news? That's what I'm calling it now.
Faux
Let's do it.
show. Faux show.
Okay, I thought you were just doing the Four Horsemen. That you were just a member of the Four Horsemen all of a sudden.
Well, I do like the
Might
shocker.
as well be. Oh my god.
Okay, let's
Dear
move
Lord.
on to the horror news.
Derek's been sipping on that juice. All right, guys. Let's start with this. So Lee Cronin, the director of the newest Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rise, has a new horror movie coming out, dated for 2026. We don't really have a name for it. We know it's a horror movie from New Line Cinema. It'll be released on April 17th, 2026. So, Derek, you've not seen Evil Dead Rise, but Lydia, you have.
Yes.
So, I'm interested to see Lee Cronin's next movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll review Evil Dead Rise eventually when we get to there. We're on Army of Darkness now. But I think we'll it'll be kind of a tad spoiler to say that Evil Dead is the only horror franchise that does not have a bad movie. Like, legitimately has 0 bad movies. So I think it's the most consistent.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah.
It's a good
Pretty
one.
strong. So I'll go see that. I support horror anyway, so we don't have a lot of horror news, but we got some. We got some weird ones too. So this one here, Zazie Beetz is starring in a new horror movie produced by the Machetes, which is Andy and Barbara Machete from It Chapter 1 and 2, and of course, The Flash. They announced a new horror movie coming out called They Will Kill You, which has Kirill Sakharov on board to co-write and direct. Zazie Beetz, who you know as Domino from Deadpool 2.
Really?
She will be
Okay.
Yep. She'll be starring in the movie They Will Kill You, which follows a woman who answers an ad to be a housekeeper in a mysterious New York City high-rise. She doesn't realize she's entering a community that has seen a number of disappearances over the years. Solid plot, right?
I'm going to guess they feed her to a giant spider. That's my guess.
That's probably a terrible guess, but hey, you know what? You do you.
It's a very good, educated guess. Plot twist.
Maybe Southern education, but maybe not the highest education. We'll see. But what do you guys think of this?
Sounds
interesting.
mysterious.
Yep, funky and mysterious even.
She did a really good job in the Deadpool movies, so
yeah,
give her a shot, man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, more horror is more horror, right? This, guys, I don't know how to feel, okay? So apparently, So the psychological movie classic, Possession, Andrei Zawalski's Possession from 1981, is getting a remake from the writer director of Smile, Finn Parker, and with Robert Pattinson due to produce. So we've not done Possession yet, but it's a wild ride, and it's one of those that I just cannot see being remade. But hey, you know what? People are going to do what they want. It stars Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani. It's a wild, disturbing, crazy movie. So we'll have to do it, but maybe it might be good. Who knows? I mean, we know how we felt about Smile. It had its ups, it had its downs.
I had a lot of feelings about that movie.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we'll see what this is like, but I don't know about it, man. I don't know about it. It just got a 4K restoration, actually. The Zawalski movie did. But this thing is looking like it's going to arrive shortly. Also, looks like the Batman is coming out January of next year, by the way, guys.
The Batman?
This says that on here. Yeah, the Batman 2. Pattinson's second Batman movie.
Oh.
And you said he was a producer on this new one? Not the
He's
Batman
a producer
movie,
on this. He may star. We don't know that yet, but it's in the early stages. But all we know is that Robert Pattinson is set to produce. Parker Finn is going to direct it. I'm assuming probably write it. Yep, he's attached to write and direct. And it's caused a bidding war between A24, Netflix, Paramount, Sony, and Warner Brothers. So
good for them. I mean, a bidding war is always good for the party who's like selling it.
It is. Let's just. I mean, we'll do Possession eventually, and then we'll touch this one. We'll see what we're dealing with. So, guys, HBO Max, or I'm sorry, my bad, Max, which is the dumbest name humanly possible. Why don't you call it Jerry or Tom at this point? Frank. Fucking Max, get out of here. Max is still developing a Conjuring TV series. We know they're going to do The Conjuring 4. We know that Michael Chavez, the guy that did the last one, is returning to direct The Conjuring 4. And it's supposed to be the final installment of the main series. But it looks like they are still trying to move forward with a series for HBO Max. Or, I'm sorry, Max. And I'm assuming that they'll probably try to lure Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga to be in it in some capacity. They would almost have to be. They're the reason that I watch those movies, really. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you feel about this?
I mean, story is king, man. If it's a good story, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
it has potential. Go ahead, Lydia.
The scares have to be top notch.
And it has to have those two actors, I think, in order to work. Because that's what we're attached to. We're not attached to. I mean, we go for the scares. We want to see those, but we go to watch more of this iteration of the Warrens, right? Not the real life Warrens, but these Warrens, because we've grown to love and developed a fondness for them. We want to see that they're okay. So yeah,
we still need to talk about the third one because I have a lot of feelings about that too.
Yes, we still have to watch it. We still have to get to it. We also have to get to The Nuns.
Watch that on my own?
Yes, you did. We haven't done it for the show yet.
That makes sense then.
We have to watch The Nun. We have to watch Annabelle. We have to watch Annabelle Origins, which is great. And then we'll have to watch Annabelle Comes Home. And then get to all the Conjurings still as well. So yeah, we've got a lot to do in that universe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of daunting.
No wonder
That's,
it crossed $1
we
billion.
we haven't
and
even
got
touched
20
Hellraiser
movies.
yet, guys. Haven't even touched Hellraiser yet.
We have a
We've
lot of
got
work to do.
we've got a lot of iconic horror stuff still to watch. We still have tons of movies from Wes Craven and John Carpenter and Sam Raimi, and all of them. Oh, Mike Flanagan. So we've got a lot of stuff to do still. But I got one more bit of horror news before we get into the movie. This is the big one, guys. The big one for tonight. So remember that mysterious Steven Spielberg event movie we were talking about last week?
Yep.
Yeah.
That we don't really know much about? Well, that we really don't know much about still yet? Well, guess what? We still don't know much about it. But it looks like Emily Blunt is in talks to star in it.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Good.
Great.
Yep.
The film is described as a two-hander. So Emily
is that
Blunt
like
would be
a-
playing one of the two leads in this movie. So it's all we know is so far is that Emily Blunt, UFO movie, the master Steven Spielberg. So we're starting to get trickles of stuff, and we have a release date, of course, which is May 15th, 2026. So it's a couple years out, and it's like 3 days after my birthday. So happy birthday to me when that comes out, future Jamie. So guys, I mean, I'm excited for this thing. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime Spielberg puts out a new movie, but Spielberg putting out kind of a genre movie? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Right.
He needs to do just one more straight horror movie before he retires. Or shuttles off this mortal coil. To show the youngsters how it's done one more time. He was like, oh, I made Jaws, and it's the best movie ever made. And then he's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make Jurassic Park, also a banger, one of the best movies ever made. And he's like, I'll just dabble in horror here and there. I think he should just come out with like a ferocious banger of a horror movie, make us shit our pants, and then he cuts out.
Guys, I'm ready to talk about Jurassic Park. I've been so into dinosaurs lately.
Oh,
What,
you just turned 7?
Yes, I
What's
think
Jurassic
so.
Park?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, shut up, Derek. Derek thinks Jurassic Park is the park that he attends because he's so old.
Maybe I've got some gray in this beard. But true story, that movie scared Quincy's brother so much whenever he was a young kid. I'm pretty sure I'm telling the story right, and Matthew might watch this, so feel free to comment. He used to, like the raptor scene in the kitchen, he used to run and hide behind the couch and peek out from behind the couch
Yeah.
when that scene would come on. So it was
Yeah.
legit scary.
Horrifying.
Well, guys, this isn't a Jurassic Park podcast yet. We'll get to that one. We'll tell all of our JP stories when that hits, because
All right.
I mean, we'll get to that one. Today, we're here to talk about
Jurassic Park month.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough movies to do almost 2 months, really, but and only half of them are good. But
Yeah. First month would probably be preferable.
yeah. That back half month's going to be rough. The back half of that month. Guys, we're here to talk about The Gate. The Gate. Derek, this is your pick. Tell us about your experience with this movie.
I have not seen this movie in flippin' forever. This movie came out in 86. I was probably
87.
Well, I was 3. 87. So I was 4-ish. I probably saw this movie in the early 90s. And I remember the cover of the VHS tape, man. It looked great and scary. And I remember watching this when I was a kid. And Jamie, you mentioned something last week, and I was just like, huh. You were like, oh yeah, gateway horror movie. Although it was PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something. This movie scared me when I was little.
Oh
It
yeah,
had some aspects.
of course.
Yeah. I don't know if I would classify it gateway horror, but it got me. It got the job done when I was little.
I do. It's definitely gateway.
I know
horror,
you do.
but
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it's not child's play, but I mean, it's got some stuff in it.
right. Lydia, have you've never seen this movie?
Okay, so I have watched this movie.
Oh, okay.
I had a feeling that I did, but I went to look for it, and it said watch again on Amazon.
Well, that's a good indication.
Yes, I was like, okay, I've definitely put this movie on before. Whether I was paying attention, I must not have been paying too much attention because I didn't really remember it that well. But this movie was on my radar for the special effects.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Because there are some cool special effects in this movie.
Yes, and we will get into that for sure. For sure. That's what this movie's, I mean, that's what it's best known for, I think, is some of its cool effects. This is a movie for me that I also remember watching as a youngster. It was definitely the early 90s. This used to play all the time on like HBO. My good friend Justin and drummer Justin had this. We recorded it from like HBO from the satellite, so we had like a VHS copy of it, and we'd watch this thing, and it used to be scary. Like we would be like, oh, like there's I haven't seen this movie since then. Like I saw clips of it here and there, but I haven't seen this since I was a little kid. So I remembered a lot of stuff, but also like not, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know the movie like the back of my hand. It's not Halloween, which I could recite. It was one that I was like, I remember the big beats, and I remembered them pretty vividly. But it's one of those that there's actually a scene, we'll talk about it, that I vividly remembered always used to spook me out when I was a kid. But Derek, you talked about the cover, the VHS cover of this. I remember always seeing it in the video store. You know what it reminds me of? The Beast.
Yeah.
Kings Island's The Beast font.
Yeah, it does.
From the roller coaster. It's so similar.
Oh yeah. The roller coaster.
Isn't it? Yeah. The Beast
you nailed it.
rocks, by the way, guys. The Beast used to love it.
Oh man.
I mean, it jerks you around like crazy because it's an old wooden coaster.
Yeah.
But dude, that drop, the 150-foot drop, is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking down and you see like a little hole like this big. You're like, I'm going to fit through that. You drop down. You know
and
what?
Once you get into that hole.
Yeah. little side story real fast. One of the last times, not the very last time, because last time we all went, Lydia. But one of the last times before that.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yep. Before that, we all went to Kings Island. Jake and I rode the Top Gun roller coaster. No exaggeration, like 12 times in a row. There was nobody there. Nobody in that. Nobody. I mean, it's an older coaster. It's not named Top Gun anymore because it's not. Kings Island's not owned by Paramount anymore. So. But the Top Gun coaster, Jake and I rode it because it was empty, and we loved it. We got back in line like 3 times. Then after that, the people that rode that was running the ride were just like, "Why don't you just stay on it?" We were like, "All right," and we just kept. And we were talking about it. We're like, "I really love this turn here. Yeah, this is a great one." So, guys, that roller coaster is awesome. But let's talk about the gate, because we'll talk about some of the actors here, because the main actor is probably the most successful of the bunch, which is Stephen Dorff as Glenn, and it's so funny seeing him as this little because there's certain facial expressions he makes, and you're like, oh, I can see him. He's in there. You
Yeah.
can see little baby Steven Dorff.
Yep.
What do you think of the cast in this movie?
It's pretty good. I like
I think
Terry.
Terry's the best. Terry's everybody's favorite. He's the fucking coolest, man.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
With his heavy metal albums and his cool freaking denim jacket and his, and he's kind of like just a sweet kid too,
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is. He's got a terrible
like-
backstory. Not a terrible.
Yeah,
but
his
sad.
mom has passed away and his dad's kind of absent. So he sees Glenn's family kind of as a surrogate family, so to speak. And
I mean, Jesus,
Terry,
you would totally get CPS called on you these days. Like
no,
if you
yeah,
were to just
Terry
be like,
is, yeah, Terry's 100% the definition of a latchkey kid.
Yep.
Dad just writes him a note. Hey, away on business, and he's just like, all right, guess I'll fend for myself, and then go hang out at Glenn's house.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the cast. I think the sister is great too. She's terrific. So Terry is played by Louis Tripp, and Alexandra Al is played by Krista Ditton. And they do great jobs. Guys, her friend with the fucking hair is something else.
I loved it.
That hair.
Yeah.
She looks
I
like
like-
she just is recreating something about Mary.
Yeah. I like when they're like insulting each other back and forth, and he's like, "Don't you need to go join the circus?" or something?
Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of what is she, Derek? A BIT? Would you
Yeah.
consider her a BIT?
Yep.
Derek, I used that like this past week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Were people like, what?
It was to my mom. I was like talking about someone. I was like, she was a little bit of a BIT, as Derek would say.
The Derekisms, if they start sweeping the nation, we're in trouble. People start giving
Oh, yeah.
people bad acronyms.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, she's something else. She's kind of a horrible person, her friend. She's terrible. And
I mean, they're most of the. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that they. I mean, mostly they're just shallow. Like
Yeah, all of her
except for
friends.
the core kids. The other kids are just super shallow and.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're into their own thing. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
Basically
Yep.
into their own,
teenagers.
just into their own lives. Making it with freaking Glenn, or whatever his name. What's the kid's name? Brad. Making it with Brad is the most important thing.
Mhm.
Brad's all like freaking just deadly.
Yeah.
So the special effects in this thing, guys. We get some good effects once it kicks off. This movie takes a while to get going.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely kind of slow burnish. We get kind of day in the life stuff. We get some like spooky scenes. Like the opening is kind of like a spooky scene.
Like a little bit of a
100%.
nightmare.
Yeah, 100% kid tone. I mean, this is made for kids for sure, like teenagers, 100%.
I kept trying to think, when would I feel comfortable letting Clark watch something like? Probably when he's about 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think 9 or 10. He's got a,
It depends on how scared he is of things, right? Like, I mean,
that is also true. Yeah.
it definitely depends on the gauge. That's the gauge. But like, yeah, I mean, it kind of starts off a little slowish, and then we get the introduction of the tree falls over, and then there's the freaking big hole that appears, and we're slowly getting glimpses of some weird happenings, like the damn, he levitates, which
Yeah.
that's that whole.
levitation.
That's a light as a feather, stiff as a board, almost.
Yeah.
That's what they're kind
Yep.
of doing. Yeah.
Exactly what it is.
Definitely.
And he just floats, and then he cries, and there's a very funny scene after that when they go upstairs, and he's like, Terry's concerned about him. He's like, he's upset because they saw him cry. He's like, well, well, I did this. They started naming embarrassing things that happened to each of them. So she's like, remember when I got pantsed in front of the whole school?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
That was
trying to make
sweet.
him feel better. Yeah.
Terry threw up on somebody.
Yeah, Terry. Did you really throw up on that guy? Yeah. Their friendship is cute and sweet, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So this happens. So let's talk about the first real scare of the movie, which is when Terry's mom walks into the house. Guys, there's some weird stuff going on with this.
Oh yeah. First
so-
of all, let's talk about the dog.
So there's a dog, and it's their
Yes.
dog, and his name is Angus.
And I had a dog named Angus growing up.
Did you?
Yeah. My dog's name
Nice.
was Angus.
Nice.
He didn't
Like
look
AC/DC,
like
right?
like that cute dog, but
But yeah, so we see Angus laying in the dog bed. Then we see his mom walk in, and we get some pretty cool lighting. I think the lighting in this movie is pretty good. I like the way it's shot. I think it looks cool.
the house is cool too.
It is. By the way, that house, you guys, fucking middle class families in the 80s. Am I right?
I know,
It's
dude.
like
I was
fucking-
thinking the same thing.
It's like a 7-bedroom house with like a yard that's 3 football fields wide. Like I'm just like,
yeah, it's like a mansion almost. Like, can you imagine?
oh, like my house is pretty big.
Yeah,
But not
you
that
do have
big.
a pretty big house. You do
But
have a
come
pretty
on.
big house.
I don't have that big of a yard. Not
That's
even
true.
close.
That's true.
Good lord.
But yeah, that house was pretty great.
Yeah,
Big old
It is.
plants everywhere.
plants
The
everywhere.
colors, the bedrooms. It's just every time you get to see any part of
It's
the
super
80s.
80s.
That's why
Yeah.
I really didn't mind the like everyday
No, slice of
living.
life stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I like seeing this bedroom and
I
the
like seeing
kitchen
how
and-
I remember how it was back then. Yeah. Yeah, like they're just kind of hanging out in the, they just go outside and play, and
Mhm.
and yeah, a lot of fun.
no cell
But-
phones.
No cell phones, no internet, just kids
Yeah,
You know,
your
running
video
around.
game was
Conjuring
a stick,
demons.
conjuring the devil.
was a stick with a one button. I'm looking at you, Atari.
That's 87. Nintendo was out. They had the NES.
Yeah.
Ah, maybe.
And the bottle, the rockets.
Dude, that is such a freaking that is such an 80s like 70s kids thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's
Toy
so excited
rockets.
about those rockets.
Well, his room, he has a bunch of those rockets that we had to make in 5th grade, hanging up. Do you guys remember that? You guys remember making rockets in school?
No,
I don't think we made them in
remember
school.
You guys never made rockets? I made rockets in
No.
school. We had this rocket day where we all had to make our own rockets, got to paint them, and then we got to launch them, and they had like the parachute that came out. Pretty fucking legit. But anyway,
did you guys play a lot of Elton John?
yes, we did. We played a whole lot of Elton and a little bit of Harlan Williams. We just watched the movie Rocket Man on repeat. The classic cinematic adventure.
Mhm.
It's about the same time. I think it was about the same time. I remember renting that movie when it came out, by the way. And the only thing I remember is the scene where he keeps farting in his spacesuit and it keeps expanding. That's all I remember of that thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's like watching that movie is like being stuck in a fart spacesuit. That's my review of Rocket Man. But back to the gate. So, guys, the record that he has is fucking sick, right?
Dude,
It is
that's
pretty-
intense.
Yeah. Also, it's a movie. I understand that, but the coincidence, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you have to have it. But
But
I just love that artwork of the album and everything. It looks so cool. I was like,
mhm.
man, I would fucking buy that
Very,
record.
it's very Evil Dead. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's such a
It is
cool. I was
very
like,
good.
I'd buy that record for sure. That'd be
Yep.
displayed right back here, buddy.
Yeah.
but I
I
love the scene where he's like
did you feel
jamming
like,
out.
yeah, do you feel like that scene was just like the director's childhood or something?
I don't know. Well, I think it's part. So there's some mixed signals here, you know. So you could take it as heavy metal conjures the demons, but really heavy metal. If you play it backwards, they tell you how to stop the demons. So I guess heavy metal kind of saves the day, which is good because.
Yes.
But I love the idea of him just his dad's gone, so he's home and by himself, and he's just listening to his favorite record that he knows even the voiceovers by heart. So he's
Yeah.
acting out the voiceovers. I'm like, I used to do fucking shit like that, like for sure.
Definitely.
That would have been.
That's why I'm like,
if
this
I
was
were,
personal for someone.
Yes.
Yeah. If I were the casting director, I'd have been like, "All right, this is the scene, and I want you to do this."
This is the one. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the one.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
the one that we get to decide who you are. Yeah. So such a good fun scene and how he figures it out. I mean, it's kind of a little convenient how he figures it out. He's just like, wait a minute. They're talking about this randomly, and he's like, let me look at all this. All these coincidences. Because they've already done everything. Because, of course, like I said, the mom scene, Angus dies somehow. He just is there, and he's like, Roof! And then he's just dead.
Yeah.
When she turns into him, it's so funny, guys. I've got to say, it's so funny that transition because it's just the dog smiling, and then the dog's dead. And I also got to say these other friends jerks to the. I mean, this dog's dead. I mean, they're trying. I guess he tries to take it to animal control or what have you, but he's like, "Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to throw it in this fucking hole in their yard."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit insensitive. Even for, I mean, especially for the girl, because I feel like, I don't know, like, who is that insensitive that you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to call my parents to tell them that our, elderly family dog has died.
Yeah, exactly. That it's like, yeah, so our dog that we've had for 16 years, he's dead. But they're like, no, let's just not tell him, and let's not let our little brother, who is devastated because he grew up with this dog, let's not let him call his parents for comfort. That's kind of a dick move. I agree.
Yeah. After he got levitated off the dang ground.
After he got levitated, and the one freaking spunk hair girl's making fun of him for eating Gerber, and he's calling her a freak and shit. Yeah. It's like, what the hell, man? So the build up to this movie, like I said, is slow. And then after they bury the dog is when the shit starts to happen. And we start getting glimpses of the cool shit happening. Like, we see freaking the girls come over to stay the night, and then the fun stuff happens. Because we get the window breaking, and they find the dog in his bed. Which is hilarious, because he's just kind of like, for some reason. And like smoking. And then because Terry walks in and he's like, what'd you do to your hair? Because she's got that damn green stripe in it.
I thought it was
and
purple.
Then after that, it's like the freaking weird monster hands. Guys, the practical monster hands, love them. They're hilarious.
They're hilarious, but they're also like, I could see how this would scare you as a kid.
As a kid, yeah, 100%.
That is like the number one fear of children.
Something under your bed
every night.
No. The little monsters were the number one fear. But I did love the hands. The hands looked really great. I mean, they were big and clunky, but
they were so big, and there were so many. Why are there so
they were
many?
cool. And then the monster, the little demons themselves are so cool. Such a cool little design. In the way they kind of rotoscope them in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just like kind of like this is where the special effects kind of start to, because it kind of becomes a special effects picture. And some of them are really good. Some of them don't hold up, but it's still a lot of fun.
They're all fantastic.
87,
but they're all
man.
practical effects. They're all like in camera effects, which is great.
Yes.
So I love the fact that they kind of it's like they like go out to try to stop it. They all go down in the basement and all that stuff because they're trying to stop it. But really, the showstopper is the things I remember. Here's the bits that I start to remember the most is when Terry falls down that hole.
Yep.
Right? And we see the little demons and they start like biting him. I remember that as a kid in being like, that's so scary. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Get him out of the hole. I remember that being scary. Do you remember that, Derek?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the little demons like appearing and biting him. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So like just such a scary scene when you're a little kid. And especially like, there's some weird stuff like the timing of that scene's a little wonky, but it works, it works fine. But like when, he's like, quit preaching the Bible. It's making him mad. And he gets up there and he's like, starts to read Genesis of the Bible. And then he just decides, hell with it. And throws the whole thing in there. That's fun. And it blows it up. They think they're good to go. And then they kick their loser friends out finally after that. Yep. Because, of course, Brad shows up with some beer and he's like, hey guys, I'm here to party. They're like, we don't want to party, man. We just saw some little crazy demons. And these girls saw it too, but they're going to pretend like they didn't, apparently. I guess. So they boot out, and then we get the showstopper scenes, which is the monster coming out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's design is great.
Oh my gosh, when he becomes... scared me for sure as a kid.
Yeah, he's a great design. He's creepy looking. But guys, when he falls over and morphs into all of the little demons, is spectacular. Yeah. That's the shot that I remembered as a kid. Because I'm just like, oh my God. And then I saw this actually on Corridor Crew as well. They talk about this scene. Yes. And it's just amazing how they did it. And I was like, man, that's so cool. He hand did all of the, just boop, 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 boop. It's just such a great morph shot. It's so flawless.
Yeah. And the fact that when you get the shot of them all running around in the room and the brother and sister are standing against the wall, how they did that was like actually all in camera.
All in camera, yeah, forced perspective. Then all of this.
They built like a giant bedroom. Mm-hmm. And they had the brother and sister up closer to the camera on a platform, which you can see if you
look close. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all in the same frame, like where all these guys in costumes are running around on the ground, like on this set. It's so fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But that's a great one. That's like the best, And then also when Terry shows up and bites his hand, I always remembered that too.
Remember that?
Because that's pretty creepy. Yep. And she stabs him in the eyeball with a Barbie.
Yeah, with a Barbie leg.
Yeah.
You know why I remember the Terry scene? Because he looked like a mouse. He reminded me of a mouse with his big teeth. And he's like,
yep.
Yeah.
Barbie legs were fucking dangerous. They were pointy.
You know who that reminds me of?
I got fucking stabbed by a pencil by my daughter.
Oh.
I mean, she's just playing around going, hi, Dad. I'm like, don't do it. But anyway.
Do you know who that kid reminds me of?
Who?
Do you guys ever watch Paranormal Unsolved BuzzFeed with Shane and Ryan?
That's a mouthful. I don't know.
No, I have not seen that.
I'm just trying to put on keyword. I'm like trying to think. They have their own like YouTube channel now. They're so entertaining. They're complete idiots, but I think they're pretty funny. But the guy, his name is Shane Madej, I think, and he looks exactly like this kid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love that bit in the closet. I think it's pretty good and spooky. I think it's funny how he just kind of karate chops the top of the gun off. I'm like, All right. But after she gets taken and he's by himself, we get some really cool standout stuff. So first we get the big demon arising. And what do you guys think of the design of the big demon? First of all, he's a like stop motion creature. And stop motion creatures are legit. They always rule.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it looked great. Even now, I still like the design.
Yeah, it's a great design. Yeah, I love it. I think it looks great too. His like all of his little arms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah has come home at this point, and she's towards the end of the movie. She's asking me a million questions, and she's like, "So why'd they take that guy?" I was like, "Because they're trying to take everybody, babe. Why did they do this?" I was like, because of this." And then the creature grabs him, and then touches his head, and then lets him go. And Sarah goes, "Why did he pat his head?" And I said, I don't know. Watch the movie, babe. And she's like, "Why don't you just tell me?" I said, "Because I haven't seen it since 1992. What do you want from me?" I was like, and then after I watched it, I still don't know why he just lets him go. I have no
The
idea.
only thing I could think of, which was a scene that did stick out to me and I remembered, was after he does that and lets him go. I don't know if he like cursed him or what, but he had an eyeball in his hand.
Yeah, but I don't understand what the purpose of letting him live is.
Why? Yeah, why did you do that?
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But the eyeball in the hand is the other thing I 100% remember from this movie.
Yep.
It's one of those images that I remember being a kid at Justin's house, and we see it, and I remember just being like fucking like, oh my God. And I remember just looking at my own hand being like, oh, like that night when I was laying in bed, I was like, don't like that. It just always scared me when I was little. And then, of course, he stabs it, and it's like looks horrible when he goes to stab it. It's like clearly just like a static, like rubber piece on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
But that shit is great because we see that big cool tornado thing, and all of those like layers of like effects going on. and so we have that cool thing going on.
You gotta push through the window with that in the background. I'm like, how did they do that?
Oh, it's a completely separate plate shot. It's a completely different plate shot. There's layers in the foreground that are live action. Then all the other stuff's plated. You can see it. You can see the plates kind of shift because it's 1987 and it's a lower budget movie. I mean, the budget of this thing, guys, was,
$2.5 million.
$6 million.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I had just looked it up. I thought it was $2.5 million.
Nope. Looking at it right now. Budget $6 million. Box office 13.5. Box office was 13.5 million.
Yeah, it was the gross, but it looks like the budget. It doesn't matter. That's Canadian.
The budget.
Never mind.
Yeah, budget US $6 million.
Yeah, this is in Canadian.
Yep.
Because it was a Canadian film.
Yes.
Country of origin.
So,
fucking conversion rates.
All of this culminates in, he stabs the eyeball and then shoots a rocket into the demon to kill him. What do you guys think of the rocket ending? Like that's what destroys it.
A metaphor for love, because the thing is like how you destroy it is like an act of love or something like that, or something that's pure or whatever. His sister got it for him.
Right.
The little note that he finds is really cute. And there's a scene where she was supposed to go out with her friends, but she spent all her money on a new rocket for him.
Yes.
Or for them, which was really cute. But
for them to play with, together.
Yeah.
But I love how he gets the battery. I love the shot of how it goes in. It just kind of opens up in the clay.
Just seal it right in. Real quick.
And then it starts sparking. Dude, and he picks him up and his little clay guy holding around in a couple shots. But the only effect that made me laugh is when the explosion happens and he fucking flips out of the door is so funny. Ah! It's so funny. I was like, I literally laughed out loud. I was like, well, that one didn't hold up well, but
Yeah.
there's some problems with that one, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, what do you guys like? I mean, what do you guys think of this movie as like a, as a gate, especially as a gateway horror movie? I guess. What else do you want? Is there anything else I missed that you guys want to talk about? Oh, the ending itself is nice. Everybody's alive.
The
Nobody
dog is
actually.
alive.
The dog's alive. Both of his sister and his best friend's alive, and then they're trying to figure out how to tell their parents that their house is destroyed. Like, what are we going to tell them? We'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we had that scene with when earlier, like when all the spooky stuff starts going down and they run out the front door and the parents are there and then he's like,
Oh yeah,
Dad, and the dad's like face melts off and like his head falls and hits the
That
ground.
was one of them
great.
where I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to let my kid watch this movie for a
dude,
while.
that
Yeah.
seems great. What is hilarious though is you've been bad. That is fucking so funny, especially when she goes to call, and then he goes, "You've been bad" again, and then there's that cool effect of the phone melting.
Mm-hmm.
Like that effect kicks ass. The "You've been bad" is corny and hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? So these creatures are like reality warpers. In essence, like it seems like they can morph. And the reason why I bring this up, there's a really cool shot when they have to go into the basement to get the records.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at the picture, the family photo, and the mom and the sister and the dad are all dead in the photo except for him. They're like, "Oh, what is it? Nothing," or "Don't worry about it," or something like that. But
and then there's also, I love that on the wall there's like written like drawings, and there's the drawing of the eye hand just on the stairway wall.
Oh yeah.
You're like, okay. I don't know if that means like. So I don't understand what the eyeball thing means. So it's like the demon's touch. Let's see what it says here. The demon's touch has placed an eye in the palm of his hand. That's just all it says. It doesn't say why. Just that's what happens.
Maybe some kind of, he's like, oh, this will be my watch person
Guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's fine because all's well that ends well. Right.
Right.
So it's
freaky image.
Yep. It's a great image. It's one, like I said, it's one that's been with me for 30 plus years. It's one of them I remember for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, love it. Love that stuff. What do you guys think of this movie?
I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun too. It's definitely fun.
Yeah.
It's not quite as fun as like something like the Monster Squad, which is like just, the perfect balance of these sort of things, I think. But it's really solid.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys rate this?
It's very for you and I. It's super nostalgic because we were kids when we watched it, and so it's just.
And it was effective when we were kids. It was effective.
Yeah, exactly. It was memorable. You remembered it, and not because it was super terrible. It's because it had legit. The special effects in this movie, a lot of them are very good, and they come
cool.
across very well, and they aged very well.
Yeah.
So that's
that's. I think practical effects always age better than digital effects. Just because even if it looks a little chintzy, there's something physically there. You know what I mean? I think is why it ages so well. But yeah, I agree. I think even like the stop motion stuff, there was a physical being manipulated to create that stop motion. So it just feels handmade. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that digital effects are easy. Of course they're not. There's a lot of artistry that goes into that. But it's just, there's something magical about those stop motion effects and some of those in-camera shots of kind of basically trying to figure out how can we do this that's a fun thing. I think that's a
Yeah,
fun part of the filmmaking process.
So much love and work and effort went into like the little costumes or life-size costumes that all of those demons were wearing, and like a whole set that they had to build and figure out the dimensions
The
and everything. And,
logistics
like,
of it. Yep.
I mean, it's just like so many different effects in this that they had to figure out, like, and like keep the story entertaining and good and heartfelt at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how
think
I feel about the rocket though. It's kind of dorky.
Of course, it's dorky.
How rude, Lydia.
100% it's dorky. It's one of the dorkiest things possible.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun. It's 100% like a kid's version of how would I defeat this demon is by this cool rocket I have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course,
for
it's how you
sure.
defeat
This rocket could do so many cool things.
Yeah. Have you seen it? It's huge.
For me, it's like, oh, it goes really into the air and then comes back down.
Did more than go into the air. It blew up a demon.
That's true.
Blew him right up. Right away.
Old Thunder or whatever.
Yep.
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt. So,
pretty cool name.
What are you guys gonna rate this guy?
You want me to go first?
Sure, if you want.
I'm gonna give this movie I'm gonna give it a 7. Lot of feelings about this movie. Really takes you back and puts you in like that when you were a kid and like what you felt when you watched it. And I mean, I remember having like there were parts of this movie that when I was a kid, like it really got me because I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm gonna give it a 7. I can't wait till Clark's old enough to watch this. See what he thinks.
What do you think, Lydia?
Yeah, I think I want to give it a 7 too, because part of me was like, oh, maybe like a 6.5. It's not like, I don't know. Yeah, but like I feel like I wish I had the nostalgia for it because it is good and it's like I know this would have scared me and been so fun to watch as a kid. It's perfect gateway horror. It's got the metalhead friend and like the stop motion. Come on. That's my stuff.
So, what was the movie that we watched that was your childhood movie about the night? What was that movie called?
Me?
Yeah, it was like early in one of the seasons.
Fear of the Dark.
Fear of the Dark, that's the one. This is Derek and I's Fear of the Dark.
Yeah.
So you know how you had like nostalgia for that, but then you rewatch and you're like, nah. But this one,
yeah,
this one still holds up, I think, and it's not
Yeah.
scary now as an adult. Obviously, there's nothing scary about it. But those things as a kid, I remember being like, I could see why that was scary to me, and I can understand why I was afraid of the little monsters coming from, breaking into a million pieces and running at me. I could see being scared of being in a hole with a bunch of those little demon guys. I can understand being afraid of the clunky hands coming out or your dad's face crushing off and his head falling off. I could see those things. Like, I understand them. In the cool monster. So, yeah, I think I'm right with you guys. I think I agree. It's a 7. Because it's a fun gateway horror movie. It has flaws. I think the pacing's a little off. I think it's a little slow in the first half, which is fine to build, but I think it kind of drags a little bit too long. But I think that's because they had to save all of their stuff for the end, for like that big crazy stuff that happens at the end. And there's a little bit of repetition. They go in the house, out of the house, upstairs, downstairs, in the house, out of the. But that's just the nature of the beast. That you have one location, you're trying to figure it out. I know the movie that we're doing is the whole second and third act take place in one setting, so I know the game. But yeah, I really like this one. I'm going to give it a 7 as well. I think it's a great horror gateway. Who would Tom Atkins play in this, guys? I mean,
I
he
guess
would
the
only
dad.
the dad's the only one, unless we put 12-year-old Tom Atkins in it.
Oh.
That's the rules. It can be any era Atkins.
Did
I don't
he
think we've
act
ever
in the
done that.
in that one as he was 12?
I don't know. Probably not, but hell. He probably would have killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have to
He'd
be
have
the
been
dad.
one sassy 12-year-old.
Yeah, he'd still have a mustache in a
It would
beer
be a lot
can.
scarier. It would have been a lot scarier to have him yelling like, "You've been bad" or whatever he says. You know?
Yeah. You know what? The dad, by the way, I gotta say, kind of a prick. Like, I mean, he's yelling at them. Like, clearly they didn't create
For
this
the hole
giant
in the yard.
fucking hole in the ground, guy.
Yeah.
Me as a father, I'd been like, we need to call the city over here. First of all, that does not look good.
Like a
secondly,
giant tree fell.
Kids, you need to stay back from this. I'm glad you guys didn't fall into it. Not, well, you're grounded, by the way. And also, when you're done, you got to go out there and fill that hole in. And then when it's bedtime, I'm going to turn off your light and you're going to have to fucking deal with it.
No kidding. Yeah.
Am I wrong? Or are you guys picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know that's how Derek parents.
The dinner scene felt more banterish than, but yeah, you know.
It's just one of those tropes where like the parents never listen, the parents never understand.
They just don't understand. The great philosopher Will Smith said it best. Parents just don't understand. And keep your wife's name out of your fucking mouth. The two great philosophies from Will Smith.
Ouch. Rough. That's rough.
Rough stuff.
Still
guys.
cringy.
So, it's my pick.
I can't believe you said that.
There's no shame in my game, Lydia. No shame in my game.
I know. I should know by now.
I love Will Smith, by the way, dearly. Bad Boys 4 is excellent. You should definitely go see it in the biggest screen possible because it's a blast. Oh, man. The directing and the cinematography in that thing and the performances, it just rips. It's a great summer movie. You should check it out. But it's my turn to pick, guys.
Yes.
And I know I had something picked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember? I had something picked out.
Oh, I forget what it was.
So do I.
I'm slightly wavering on that decision.
Why?
But I don't think I can. I think I've got to do it because I think it's fun. I think it's time, and we have to strike while the iron is hot, right? So next week we are going to be doing The First Omen.
Ah.
Oh, I remember.
Now you remember.
It.
So The First Omen, and The First Omen is streaming, I believe, on Hulu. It is streaming, yes, on Hulu. So, next week, pack up your Hulus and let's watch the prequel to a movie that we all quite enjoyed. We gave The Omen high marks. It's kind of a classic, right? What do we give The First Omen,
yeah.
Derek? Not The First Omen, but the original Omen. What do we give that? We haven't done The First Omen yet, so we don't know.
These names.
Yeah, what are you thinking of?
Confusing.
The original Omen. What did we give it?
So what? Now I'm confused.
The Omen.
The Omen.
The Omen.
What did we rate it?
Is that not what you wanted to watch? Or are we going to watch the new one? I missed this part, apparently.
The new one is called The First Omen.
Oh, the first
We
one.
already did The Omen. Remember?
We
did a whole
that's
podcast
why
about it.
I'm like confused.
It was in color. We watched it.
Son of a... I will not do anything but be mad.
Don't you call me a son of a BIT.
You son of a BIT.
The Omen.
Yes.
Omen.
We did.
We
in
did.
2023.
Mhm.
2023.
You gave it an 8. Lydia gave it a 9. I gave it an 8. 8.3 as an
I
average.
like
really,
it.
yeah, we really, really like that movie. So that's why it's going to be interesting to watch this one and see how it stacks up. This is the prequel to this. The
Okay.
prequel to the first Omen. To the original Omen, not the first Omen. Who's on first?
Yep.
I don't know. Third base.
I'm glad you understand my confusion and frustration. And
And frustration, he says.
Me and Jamie were like on it. Like we completely understood what was happening, and Derek's like, "Wait, what?"
The Omen. Who's on first? That's what it so started to turn into. Old Abbott and Costello routine. Classic. Love it. Derek, do you have a story for us today? A story involving something funny or silly that has happened to you in the past?
Man, I gotta. It's embarrassing for me.
Then definitely tell it.
Oh man, gosh, this is so stupid. This kind of. Oh, I don't want to tell. I don't want to say it.
Do it. Tell us. You have to now.
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. Okay, so like in high school, I went to the weight room a lot, and so it was always an honor. Like if coach, the weightlifting coach, if he asked you to spot him, it was like a great honor, right? So like,
it's already hilarious. Okay, continue.
so one day,
The leader of the tribe has spoken.
Spot me on bench.
It's like you're fucking Morton Joe. The War Boys. Continue. Sorry.
He's like, Lemaster, come spot me on bench. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh! Did you not spot him?
No, I did. I can't tell this story. I don't want to tell it.
Yes, you do. Tell us,
No,
Derek. You gotta tell us.
I don't. No, I don't. I don't.
Come
want
on,
that.
you got to.
We can cut it if.
Gosh dang it! I'm sure he remembers, and he's probably like, "What the fuck?" Okay, let me walk you through my thought process, okay? Because I feel like that's important. Okay. So I am nervous because he asked me to spot him, and I'm like, I've never spotted Coach before, so. He puts in a mouthpiece because this is important. He puts in a mouthpiece. Okay. And he leans back and he's getting ready. He's like, all right, take it out. It was the verbiage that he used was the thing that really like confused me. He's like, all right, take it out. And I'm like, what? He's like, take it out.
You ripped his mouth guard out, didn't you?
Oh my god, yes. I like went to reach into his mouth to take his and he goes, what are you doing? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Needless to say, I was never asked to spot him again.
How did the end of the story happen? What'd you do?
Well, he sat up and he looked at me and he just started laughing. I mean, it's really the gist of it, but like, oh man, I felt like such an idiot and a fool. But it was the way he said it. It confused me. I'm like, take it out
instead of lift it up or something.
Yeah, instead of lift or up or any other thing that would have, I would have known what he was talking about at the moment, I guess. But he said, take it out. So I'm like, okay. I tried to plug it out. That was embarrassing.
Do you feel better now?
That's so funny.
That's
a really great one.
The internet never forgets.
Derek, it could have been worse. You're standing above him. You're standing above him, crotch right above his face, and he says, "Take it out. You could have just unzipped your pants."
I thought for sure you were gonna like fart or something like in his face.
Lydia, why would I do that?
He needed a mouth guard so his teeth didn't get knocked out with it.
I'm surprised you're not like Derek. You fart all the time for no reason at all.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is why.
Exactly my thought process. I was like, you're gonna fart in his face
on the table.
No, what you did's even better. That's so funny.
No,
oh my god.
It's just genuine like instinct. You're just like, all right.
I could just imagine you. You're like,
the man said, so I'm gonna take it out. What'd you say?
I said I can just imagine you in your head. You're like, what? And I could just see
he
the
had
wheels
to
turn.
Ask a second time because the first time I was like really confused, and I was like, that can't be what he wants. Then he asked again. At that point, I'm like, well, it must be what he's like.
Why would he want you to take out his mouth guard that he just put in?
I don't know. Okay? I told you I was put on the spot.
That's that might be the funniest thing you've said in a while. That might be the funniest story you've told in a while. Don't you think, Lydia?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty good.
That's a really good one.
I wish I had a story like that. Like, I don't even have a story that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, I never had one that made me want to crawl into a hole and die.
You bastard.
If I did, I blocked it out probably.
The only time I can remember being like embarrassed, because I don't embarrass easily, I'm kind of an outroverted person, obviously, and what have you. One of the times I remember being embarrassed, it wasn't in front of a bunch of people, but we were in, actually it was, I think, stagecraft in high school, and Mr. Stratmeyer, shout out Strat, he had a drinking fountain in his classroom, because it was, basically a big shop. His classroom was a big shop with this, front stage, and then you'd walk out and there's the actual stage, and you used it to build sets or to do acting, one of the two, whichever class you were in. He also did English, but I never did that. But I remember specifically, you had the water fountain, and one of my buddies was in front of me, right? And we were fucking around, making fun of each other like we do, right? He goes and takes a drink of the water fountain. I'm talking to somebody. Somebody cuts in front of me, and I didn't realize it. And from the back, looks just like my friend. So he goes to take a drink of the water, and I went like that, and like jabbed his ribs, because that was a thing we used to do to each other. Like, poke each other in the ribs to like.
Yeah.
So he did that. He's taking a drink of water, and I went and he spit out his water, and I was like, he turned around, and there was a fucking other kid that I knew, but we weren't like friends, so it was just this awkward. This kid, we're standing like kind of face to face. I'm like, hey man, and I look over, and my buddy's over here, and I was like, fuck. I was just like, sorry, man. I feel my ears burning, and I'm just kind of like,
oh man. Oh, I did have this one time where I was like at this party, and everybody started like levitating me up off the ground, and I went really high and fell, and like cried in front of everyone.
You're just talking about this movie. You're just talking about a scene in this movie. Nice try. I know that trick. I use that trick. Here's one more before the road. This one is the time I was embarrassed in front of the whole class. It's ninth grade. We're in science class, right? We have Miss Ice, the hottest teacher in the world, like the most gorgeous teacher I've ever had in my life at that point. I think even still, she's number one. She's a gorgeous woman. Miss Ice. Every guy had a crush on her. So we're in class, and we're kind of all in a circle. She's teaching us how to, dissect something.
You're all in a circle, and she's teaching you how to what?
Dissect something. It's like, some kind of dissection. So she's dissecting or whatever. She's talking about it. We're standing there. She's bent over. She bends over, and you can see she's wearing a thong. Her thong sticks out of the back of her dress, and I'm like, this. I'm thinking to myself, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm a kid. 14. I'm like, oh my god, it's like the gods came down from the heavens and said, Jamie, here we go. So I see this teacher's thong. I'm like, oh my gosh. I kind of turn away and I'm looking. I'm like, wow, oh my god. Andrew is over on the other side of the room, and he's trying to get my attention. He's like, Jamie, and I'm like, shut up, man. And he goes, she's wearing a thong. And I'm like, shut up. She looks over and makes eye contact with him as he's saying, she's wearing a thong. And she looks over at me, and I'm like, I could feel all of the blood drain from my body. And I had to make up something. I'm like, oh, I don't feel well. That cow eye's making me feel gross. And she's like, oh, Jamie, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. She kind of like pats me. She looks back over at Andrew, and I glares him to death. And I'm like, oh my god. So later,
you're such a good improviser.
I just improvised something. Well, she knew I saw the thong, and she was perfectly fine that I saw the thong, and I had the respect not to point it out to everybody. You know what I mean? I just kept it to myself and enjoyed it for myself. But cut to the end of the semester, we had to make up some work, right? Andrew and I did. And so we did some homework. We copied each other. We did it together. We had the exact same answers for everything. We had pretty much the same grade going in, exact same answers. We get our grades. I get a C. She bumps me clear up to like a C+. Andrew fails.
Oh my
and that's why you don't talk about teachers' thongs, guys. Moral of the story. All right.
On the DL.
Keep it on the DL. Keep it down low. All right, guys. Don't forget, next week we are watching The New Omen, called The First Omen. But it's not the first Omen. It's actually like the fifth Omen. But it's the first. So The First Omen is what we're watching. It's available on Hulu. Guys, check it out so we can talk about it next week. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us your favorite scenes from this movie. What's your favorite special effects? What's the effect that stands out? What's the scene that stands out? Does this scare any of you as kids? Or if you're kids, did this scare you? I guess.
All of our children listeners out there.
And then also, the movie is chugging along. We have just a couple shots to finish, and it's done, baby. So it's looking great. I'm excited to share it with you all. Give you an update as soon as we're done with it. But people's schedules, VFX take a little time, so we're getting this puppy scored and ready for you. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Follow each of us on the Twitter machine. Follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky, Derek at The Dogly Master, and me at Racket. So until next time, guys, for Derek LeMaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.
Keep that in.
Yes, it's staying.